Wondered if I could put those lights in other things. Let's find out. Hey guys, Wendy here again from Toonpish Crafts, and I hope you're doing okay. I don't know if you've seen them, but there seems to be an awful lot of little tiny astronaut moulds. They're cute little moulds in the shape of astronauts, and I don't quite understand why there seems to be a lot of astronaut moulds around, but these ones have a little indentation in the top of his head, and what they are supposed to be for are little lights. Well, I got curious. I wanted to try them. I wanted to see what these little lights came out like. And I've ordered quite a few colours as well. Wondered if I could put those lights in other things. Let's find out. So to start with, I'm going to make these little astronauts. I'm using a tiny amount of peacock blue from Just For You Online UK. And my go-to resin is Let's Resin. Now, although I said tiny amount, I did actually mean tiny amount, and I put far too much in here, so it was far too dark. However, I just went with it, like you do. I only wanted it a tiny fraction, but that pigment is so potent, so strong. I give the mould a quick squeeze to make sure I can get all the air bubbles out I can. These are not going in my pressure pot, so they'll just be sitting on the side, and I fill them up. Job done. Now, I did actually put some silver colouring in the other one, and I didn't like the way it came out. So after several attempts to try and correct it with silver markers, I ended up taking it out of the video because I wasn't happy with it. And I thought, you know what? I don't like the blue anyway. Let's just carry on. So 24 hours later, it's time to demould, and I will show you the demoulding of this one. But like I said, I did try and correct it a few times and it was just getting worse and worse, so I gave up with it. It's very rare I give up on things, but I wanted to get this little astronaut right. I did use it for something else though, actually, and I'll show you that in a bit. But they're very cute moulds. So in the top, there's the indentation of where you put the little light, and that gave me an idea. Now, I did actually make quite a few of these little astronauts, and I thought I'd show you this one because it's quite important that you get rid of the bubbles right around the top little notch, because if you've got a bubble there, it won't go away even in a pressure pot, and it is very annoying. And these are the little lights that go in the top. Basically, you screw them up to turn them on, which is very difficult when you don't have anything in there. The idea is that you use the keychain ring to turn them on and off, and they're really quite bright. And then to turn them off, you unscrew them, and if you've got a keychain piece in there, it makes it so much easier, but you do have to completely stick them into the hole. And they've got to be solid, because if you're turning them on and off by twisting the actual light mechanism, although it's got a rubber seal, it's got to be completely solid in there. So I'm using 2-part epoxy glue for this. I've mixed it up inside the little recess, and I'm popping the light in there. And I didn't know whether it would affect the light itself if you get glue in there, because there's no glass or anything to stop it. It's just the mechanism in the hole. I did think, oh, perhaps this glue is going to mess it all up. So I thought I'd better try it. So once I've given it a good clean up, put it into the hole, and the screw part has to be out of the glue range so that you can screw it and unscrew it to turn it on and to turn it off, and to change the batteries. With anything you make, being able to change the batteries is a must. So as I said, I did use this little guy for something, and what I decided to do was to use the little indentation in the top of his head that fits the light and fill it with a little bit of silicone. I had a little bit of silicone left over from another project, and it was just about enough to fill the indentation to the top. So this silicone does cure in about 6 hours. You can't use it for 24, but it does cure in 6 hours. So this was the same day. and with a little square of isopropyl alcohol and a pair of bent nose pliers, it was very easy to take out. And I had a silicone mould for the indentation of the light. So now I have an insert for the light hole. What moulds can I put it in? Well, this is a little lady mould that looks like she's thinking with her hands around her head. I'm colouring the resin with a tiny amount of Let's Resin Chameleon blue, and I've put the silicone insert into the top of her head. And I'm filling her with a very light blue this time, extremely light. I don't want to mess her around too much. I thought I'd squeeze her in that, but I didn't want to dislodge the little silicone insert. So the following day it's time to demould, and I'm quite excited to see if this one's worked. I really like the mould as well. It's a matte mould. I think it's a soap mould, but it's really cute, I thought. And the little silicone insert worked a treat. It came out just as easy as it did from the original, and I now have a hole in her head for a light. Everything that I use in this video will be listed in the description box below, including all my discount codes. And if you want more discount codes, go to toonpish.com. So this is where it went a little bit wonky. This is a bear mould. Again, I've put the silicone inlay in the top of his head, but the bear's fur isn't flat, so the silicone inlay wasn't sealed to the bear, if you see what I mean. I've mixed this with a little tiny bit of pink, I think it's magenta from Let's Resin, and I'm filling the bear up. Again, I don't squeeze him to get rid of any bubbles. I'm hoping that the silicone stays. I also made another little lady, and that one didn't stay either. The silicone inlays both floated to the top. Now with the lady, it just so happened it was right in the middle, so it didn't really matter. I could take the silicone inlay out and I still had a nice hole for the light. With the bear, however, it was in his foot. It's not a great place to put a light in your foot. I do love this soap mould though. Again, it's a soap mould, not a resin mould, so it's matte. Most soap moulds are matte. And I thought it would have been so cute to have the little light in the top of his head. But you have to deal with these things, don't you? With the little lady, I cut away the thin piece of resin and took the silicone inlay out with a pair of bent nose pliers. I got these lights from AliExpress, as they don't seem to sell them on Amazon where they sell the little moulds. Don't quite know why that is, maybe it's a UK thing, but I'll put the link in the description box below. I cleaned up the edge with a deburring tool, and after a little bit of effort I had a nice hole for the light. These deburring tools are really, really good for inside holes. They're so easy. So even though her light will be in the bottom and not in the top, it still functions as a light. With the bear, it's a different matter. I can't really put the light in his foot, considering the silicone had twisted round, so it wasn't even the right way up. So I thought I'd fill that hole with resin. But how am I going to get a light in the top? Well, I took it to the garage, I found a 10mm drill bit, and it was the perfect size. So a 10mm drill bit will do exactly the same as the little silicone insert. So any mould, if you've got a 10mm drill bit, you can drill a hole and put the light in. Well, thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something out of it. Those little lights are so cute. Some of them stay one colour, some of them change all different colours. And I bought quite a few from AliExpress, and I only had 2 where the batteries had corroded. So they just need new batteries. I think they're absolutely so adorable. And can you imagine all the different moulds that you can put these little lights in, just with a 10mm drill bit? I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who watched the video of mine last week. It went mental. For me, 17,000 views in 5 days was just crazy, and I can't thank you guys enough. And hello and welcome to all my new subscribers that have joined me since then. I've had quite a few as well, and I'm blown away by it, I really am. The silicone insert sheets that I was selling sold out within 48 hours, and I can't thank you guys enough. I have been working trying to restock, And there are a few designs now up on the website, so check out toonpish.com. I've also got the tiny little inserts up there for sale and some large inserts as well. So yeah, go and check out toonpish.com, and it's the place where all my discount codes are too. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting, and bye for now.